16 body parts you should never ignore during foreplay. Are you ready? Welcome to my channel. My name is Jane Lawrence. Now, in case you didn't know, foreplay doesn't just work to bring more blood flow to your genitals for enhanced arousal. It gets you into the right headspace for great sex, and it helps take you out of your busy mind. And there is no wrong way to explore these different areas of your body. But regardless, bear in mind that everyone is different. So when it comes to where and how they like to be touched, you need to communicate. Communication is key. Now, here are 16 places and body parts that you need to stimulate in order to take your sexual encounters to the next level. Number one, around the eyes. Besides the normal part of your body that is most often sexualized as, erogenous zones, the area around your eyes can be just as sensual and sexual too. So try to get this area around your eyes involved in foreplay by using your thumb to stroke the brows of your partner. You can also place gentle kisses on his or her eyelids, because there is a tone of intimacy that can come from deep eye contact and gentle face stroking like that. Number two, inner bicep and tricep area are another spot. Not only are these spots, super sensitive, which can be extremely erotic, but it's also an easy pleasure spot to stimulate. This is how you stimulate these areas, right? You make a circular motion with your tongue lightly enough to stimulate the area. And also note that the skin gets a lot thinner when you get closer to the inner elbow. All right. So use this area to drive your partner wild. And of course, the lighter the pressure that you apply, the better it feels for your partner. Then also the collarbone is yet another one that we ignore half the time. The clavicle and the grooves below it can be highly responsive to touch. Even though it's a random part of the body, your partner can use it to stimulate you in a way that you didn't even think existed, by way of just running the back of their fingers over the bone and just using their tongue to trace along the underside of them slowly. Remember, foreplay needs to be intentionally done and not rushed. And number four, let's talk about the toes. I know some of you would say yikes or ew, but here is a full disclosure. You need to check in on your partner to make sure that they're okay with their foot being played with, or with their toes being played with before you go in on them. All right, so that you don't get kicked at the end of the day because there are people who are very ticklish at the touch of their toes. But once you get a go ahead, then licking and sucking them can be extremely erotic because toes are very sensitive. But make sure that you have personally wiped those toes even after they've had their bath, because ain't nobody trying to play with germs and bacteria in their mouth, okay? Okay. Number five, the earlobe. If you know me, you would know that I have talked about the earlobes, that it's almost sounding like a broken record. Now, the ear and the earlobes are extremely sensitive for many people. And so when you nibble on the earlobes, like licking behind the ears and blowing gently into someone's ears, or even telling them something sexy, can be a really huge turn on for most people. There are even some women who have had orgasm just from this sort of stimulation, I swear. So explore it. Men also are sensitive, and they also have that spot as one of their erogenous zones. So don't sleep on the earlobes, okay? Number six, still around the ear, the inner ear canal. I know this sounds weird, but hear me out, right? The inner ear is actually super sensitive and can feel really amazing when explored. But have you ever felt that incredible, almost sexual feeling of cleaning your ears? Yes. This is me talking about exploring that sensation in a safe way. I'm not saying that you should stick your fingers in to get some earwax out, but I am saying that you can touch this area in a more sensual way. And this is how you can do it. Glide your finger in slowly and give it a little twist, and even a light shake back and forth to release a body tingling sensation that will have them, or that would have your partner mooning. It's that simple, especially if you know that the ear is your partner's sensual part. And believe me when I say that this type of stimulation can go really well with some gentle nibbling of the earlobe at the same time. Don't play. Don't play, baby. Don't play. Number seven, behind the knees. You know, this soft spot behind the knees, it can be extremely responsive when it is gently stroked or massaged or even kissed. It can be especially intoxicating when you hold eye contact with your partner and they're just seated, or maybe they're laying their legs on your laps and you're just, massaging the back of their knees slowly. Just play with this using different types of strokes, with your fingertips or the whole of your fingers. It may just drive your partner wild, trust me. And keep in mind that some people may find this area quite sensitive or even ticklish. So always checking with your partner before giving, their knees a turn of attention. Because oftentimes when we bring awareness to what we're about to do, rather than just going in for it without warning, we can shift the perspective of our touch into a sensual headspace rather than, an uncomfortable space. Number 8, let's talk about the scalp. The scalp has tons of nerve endings, and I think it should definitely be on your list of sensitive spots. After all, who doesn't love a good head massage? I do. So just running your hands through your hair or lightly grabbing their hair at the nape of their neck is going to give your partner a kick, especially if your partner has hair. You could also play with hair pulling if that's a thing for your partner. All right, experiment with hair pulling and tugging by gently holding it first, and then you could pull a little harder, you could tug on it a little harder and just see if your partner likes it that way. But if your partner is bald, doesn't have hair, then you could just feather your scalp with the tip of your fingers in different direction. You could go in circular motion, you could just go in, just that tingling sensation to their neck and everything. Just play with their heads. You get what I mean? Trust me, you're gonna get them turned on. Okay, so back to the neck. Number 9, back to the neck and shoulders. So when you're rubbing the scalp, don't stop. All right, just continue down to the nape of your neck and then bring it to their neck as a whole, their shoulders. Now what you're doing is that you're lightly tickling these areas, which in return can provoke deeper sensation, because the neck, the shoulders, the back are highly sensitive and they're highly neglected in the heat of the moment. So if you and your partner are up for it, some light nibbles or love bites can just help ramp up the arousal. Now, number 10, your hands. Your hands are also a very important body part to focus on during foreplay. Our hands have, same amount of nerve endings as our genitals. And this is how it works to create that sensation flowing through your partner's genitals. You do it by closing your partner's eyes, and you take their hands and you slowly guide them to brush your face, with your fingertips down over to your neck, to your shoulders, to your boobies, and to any other sensitive spots in your body. Basically, you're just using touch to show them exactly how you would like to be touched, and they would live for it. Or you take their fingers, especially the middle one, and you just suck on it gently. My God. My God. Do you know what you will be putting in their heads? They will be imagining you doing that, especially if you're doing it to your man. He'll be imagining how he can feel your lips wrapped around his joystick. Mad. Now, the 11th body part that you should never ignore during foreplay is what I call the ultra sensitive border around your lips here. The border around your lips are so sensitive. Just touch it with your hand. Touch it with your finger. You can feel how sensitive it is, right? Tons of nerve endings right there. It has this untapped potential to stimulate, your genitals when you're kissing. This area is extremely sensitive to touch, but it is oftentimes, overlooked. since most people just focus on the plump part of the lips. So if you try lightly tracing the tip of your finger around the edge of your mouth, like you're trying to put a lip liner, you would experience that tingling sensation, almost ticklish feeling. You know how sensitive it is. Now, when you're making out, you don't need to lick around your partner's entire lips, entire mouth, or the border to get the benefit. That would be weird in the first place. Instead, kiss as you normally do. Then use the tip of your tongue to just trace the edge of the upper lip or the lower lip lightly. Pull back and then playfully kiss them again. Then trace the border of the lower lip. You will kill them with that. Now, number 12 is the nips. Look, there is a value in playing with the nips. By the way, I did a video on how to play with the boobs up here. That's the link. Now, this zone can be especially fun to explore with men, as you know, the nips are often uncharted territories. It's actually an erogenous zone that hardly gets experimented on men by a lot of women. I don't know why women think that men don't really get super sensitive on their nips. They ignore it, unlike men putting more effort on a woman's nips. You know, some women can even reach orgasm through nipple play alone because it stimulates the same area of the brain as genital stimulation. That's the genital cortex. For those who experience nipple orgasms, the connection can be so strong that they're able to build enough sexual tension in their bodies to have that glorious release. And what's more, you can show your partner exactly what you like done on your body part by acting it out on them. So you gently flicking your tongue on your man's nips with your tongue, and also biting them slowly or just gently, not so hard, and stroking them. Whatever gets those nips popping, do it on your man. And remember to always check in and make sure that everyone is having a good time. Number 13, that sexy deep where the neck meets the chest. Here is another unknown spot. Now, the entire area between your jawline and your shoulders is an erogenous zone, but there's one particular destination that will spark more goosebumps than any other part. Is this little indentation here. I don't know if you can see this little indentation here where the neck connects with the collarbone. This little indentation here. The skin is thinner there, and there's not as much fatty tissue underneath. So the sensation is more stronger. In other words, just touching this area feels damn good. So as you kiss down your man's neck, right, just trace the tip of your index finger or your middle finger from one shoulder to the deep in the center and let it linger there a little, and then swirl your finger in a slow circular motion. Then move your mouth over that spot and kiss it, using your breath to warm that area. And that's it. That's all the trick that you need to make that place an erogenous spot. Now, number 14, the sides of the torso, right? Now, when you snake your finger from, the bottom of the rib cage to the hips, you invariably invoke a powerful nerve there, such that when stimulated, it connects directly to your clit, or like I like to call it, the powerhouse. And if you're doing it on your man, then your partner's joystick. Now, when you touch that area, it reflexively causes the pelvic floor muscles to contract in people of all genders, which in return increases arousal. Note that you will want to use a firmer touch here, since it's more ticklish than other spots. Now, start on one side, just underneath the rib cage, and either stroke the area with your hands or alternate between kissing, and just apply more pressure than usual with your lips, and then lightly nibble your way down to the hip bone, and then watch how your lover goes. Number 15, the mound on the lower back here. The mound here. That place is usually ignored, but it's very powerful. You see the knob at the base of the spine. It is packed with nerves. and therefore its arousal potential is off the chart. So take advantage and give each other a massage right there. You could even kiss it. You could start at the shoulder blades and then walk your hands down in a kneading motion. When you get to the lower back, just switch to a softer touch and lightly spiral your finger over the base like so. This area is so receptive. Just the softest touch will send chills throughout the body. You could also lightly graze your cheek around that area. The unexpected skin on skin will spark an increase in the hormone called dopamine. Then softly kiss and trace your tongue along the same spot. And if you have long hair or maybe you have feather, you could try brushing it along that area. All right. Or maybe you can rake your finger slightly, gently across it to deepen the sensation. Number 16, and lastly, the trail on the thighs. All right. Now, one of the most explosive nerves in the body is located on the top of the thighs, on the top of the inner thighs. It's incredibly sensitive to touch. In fact, it's best to save it for last and, just walk your way up. You can start by licking your fingers because the wetness increases the stimulation, and slowly draw it, from the mid inner thighs to the top. Then follow the path you just traced with your tongue, teasing your way up to the region where you could touch, their package, and just notice the goosebumps on your man's skin or on your woman's skin. No cap. You just send them to heaven and back. In fact, they will just drag you into the bed and just complete the whole assignment that you've been working on. All right, so that's it, guys. That's it. Until I come your way, do have a swell time and know that I love you.